Okay, part 2. Parents. The first part was almost an hour long. I'm debating cutting it in half, but I just don't want to.
I thought you meant your hair there for a second, and I was like, hell no.
Never. So, this is part 2. We had a pretty good discussion last time. Now we're discussing the real shit, and that's parents. That's codependent parents, abuse, like even parents who don't even mean to be like quote unquote abusive, like things that they don't consider that would be affecting their child's life in the long haul into adulthood. This is the real shit, fam. Get ready. Grab your tea. We literally grabbed a light just to do this because it's night. It's not even nighttime. It is 5 o'clock. Okay.
It is 5 o'clock.
That is it.
It's also because it's overcast because it's been snowing all day, which has been beautiful.
Oh yeah.
But
it's been pretty.
I wish it wasn't snowing today, but
yeah. Our friend Wolford had his graduation today. Wolford, congratulations, fam!
You did it, babe.
So wait. You're so smart. Speaking of smart, you get a star.
I honestly expect you to just put that on my face and be like, all right. Okay, let's go.
Steve Universe.
Well, it's gone now.
Except instead on your belly, it's on the forehead. So anyway, last time we talked about our fear. We talked about how we unintentionally try to control the situation of relationships, even through the subconscious. For me, it was making sure I had an out of some way, not knowing what to do with true intimacy, even though it's what I greatly desire. I think what we all desire. And when we face the hard questions with ourselves is when...
Yeah, and not only in, like, relationships, in romantic relationships, but also in friendships. Like, I know we
talked a lot about friends last time, and I feel like that was meant to happen.
Yeah.
Because it's not touched on enough, I don't think. Because we always jump into the romantic. We always jump into the romance.
Yeah.
It's always about romantic relationships. But you know what? It happens in friendships a lot.
Yeah.
And that influences us in our experience a lot.
Yeah, and at the very end of the video, I made a comment of, like, it's also in your familial bonds, like, especially with your parents.
And that's where we're starting off today.
Yeah.
Because Caity had an experience today.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, nope.
You started it.
That's fair, I did.
I said nothing. I didn't suggest shit.
Well, I didn't want the moment to pass because I feel like a lot of people need to hear that. Like, it's not only in your friendships and your romantic, intimate relationships, but also with the people you're related to that you feel you can't get away from. Because, like, we're always taught, like, it's your family. Like, they're going to be there for you.
Blood is thicker than water. Yeah. And that's not even what that saying's about, but we're not going to go into that.
But, yeah, and I feel like it's important to get that out there as well, that, like, it relates to parents as well, like parents and just family in general. Because I have a lot of family that I feel like I have to serve for them to love me.
Right.
Like it's still that same pressure, even though it's not a friendship, it's not a romantic relationship. It's literally just because of like, oh, you're family. What can you do for me because you're family? Because
fair enough. Like, family is super important to me.
Oh yeah,
and
it's
like,
very important to me as well.
But like, there's a certain, you have to still have boundaries. And I know that even like my biological mom, it's a completely different story. Mind you, her and I have reconciled. Yeah. We have talked about our differences.
I'm very proud of you for.
That was huge, guys. I didn't speak to her for 8 years, and if you watch the past tea times, you know that. And then I just came into this state where I was completely ready, and was ready to heal my inner divine feminine, and that had a lot to do with speaking to my mom, my biological mother. But even in the family that I have now, and I have a great family, a very loving, supportive family that I adore with every fiber of my being. But there are still things where I have to put up boundaries with them. Especially in the belief part. Yeah. I'm very different from my family, my immediate family here. Even like some family that's moving from up north, moving here. I have to put up boundaries because I figured out who I am. I absolutely love the person I am and who I'm becoming, and I had to set up the boundary of feeling like their opinions are everything. And I'm a daddy's girl, and I've had several moments where I had to stand up to my dad. And not because my dad was being malicious in any way, shape, or form. My dad loves me with his whole hard, and it is not hard to see that. But there is a boundary I have to create because I am my own person.
No.
And he accepts that now. But we still have moments where we really have to reestablish that. And it's, you know, luckily my dad is a very loving person. He is, you know, he is older. But he's willing to learn new tricks. He's willing to learn new things, and very young at heart, to be
Your
honest.
dad is.
And I think that's where I get it from. I love you, Daddy. My brother and my sister are wonderful. I get along with my siblings great. But even with them, like, not that I've had to establish boundaries, not that they have pushed anything, but I still had to create boundaries that even they have to abide by.
Yeah.
You know, and but family's everything to me, and it's hard. It's hard. It was hard for me to come to terms with the fact that I had to create those.
Oh yeah.
Because, I mean, I moved here not only to be closer to you guys, but to, like, especially be closer to my parents and stuff like that, you know. Had to make peace with a lot of the attachments that I had in my head of being in certain places, and I had to let them go because family is important, and I realized that I could have a homestead and still do everything I want to do. Don't limit yourselves.
Mm-mm.
Don't.
And don't let others limit you, because
Yes.
that's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
With others telling you what your actions have to be.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm unlearning pretty much as we speak.
Yeah. It's going to be an everyday thing.
Yeah.
It really is.
Especially in I know for me personally, it's going to be an everyday thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like learning.
Well, me too. We're in it together.
That's fair. But yeah, it's going back to the last video we did, like those feeling like it's how you can serve them.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised as a very fix-it person. Like, if there's an issue, fix it.
Mm-hmm.
If something is broke, fix it. Like, it's not just toss it out and get a new one. It's figure out how to fix it. And if you can't, find a way to...
Still fix it.
Yeah, make it work, if nothing else.
Right. It's a lot of pressure for a kid.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure.
And recently, I finally had, like, you were here for it. I finally just
bounced through the fucking door.
That's fair. That's why I was like...
she literally had to be like, don't.
Yeah.
She had the most stern eyes I've ever seen her have with me because she knows how I am.
That, and I was finally just like...
She's had enough. So it's like, I can handle this. But for me, but she also knows how I am. Like, you don't fuck with my family. Just don't. It's best for your health.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I finally had to tell this person, like... I don't even remember half the conversation because I'm not a very, like, outwardly emotional person, but in that moment,
unlike me,
I was very overridden with emotion, and I yelled at this person the first time in my entire life. Entire life. And I told them, like, I just need you to shut up and listen.
Mm-hmm.
I just need you to listen without interrupting for a minute so that I can speak. And that was probably one of the most liberating things I ever told that person. I was like, you just need to listen. Like, let me speak. And I told this person, like,
this is family, by the way.
Yeah, this is
very close family member.
Yeah. I told this person, like, it wasn't you, but I was taught to be a fix-it person.
Which
doesn't matter.
Really migrated into your friendships and romantic relationships.
Oh, yeah. And I'm still that way, and I'm still learning to undo that in an unhealthy way. Mm-hmm. I'm still learning to do it in a very healthy way, but I finally got across to this person that, like, every time I talked to this person, I felt like we talked about issues that I felt I needed to fix. And I finally had to tell this person, like, I feel like I have to fix this, not because of anything you did, but because of the way that I approach things. And it's not that you are messed up or that I am messed up. It's just an issue, and I need to figure out how to find a solution.
Right.
And the reason I didn't want to talk to this person very much is because I didn't have solutions for their problems, because they're not my problems.
Right.
And so...
And to be quite honest, it's when you're there for somebody, this is anybody, you're not there to fix it.
No.
You're there to be there for them. But when that is an issue, and they, you know, if you're aware of this within them, because I witnessed this person yelling at you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was ridiculous. It was not necessary at all. And I don't care if they see this. Like, you know who you are, and it was completely unnecessary. And it was, it actually gave me flashbacks.
Yeah.
Because when I was younger, one of my biological mom, I'm just gonna say it, she's moved past it and stuff. But she came to me with a lot of shit when I was young, when I was like 7, 8, 9, and she recognizes that now, but it doesn't take away the fact that it happened.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take away the fact that it affects me today. So whereas you feel like you had to fix everything, I felt like I always had to make the hard decisions. I always felt like I had to serve, kind of like you say, like you have to fix. You have to serve.
That's my way of serving. It's fixing whatever their issue is, and it's been like that for a long time.
And I've had to become hyper aware of the people around me. Hence, being an empath. I think. I mean, of course, I was always a naturally, like my dad. His big thing at family gatherings, or whatever, is, oh, I pulled a Leo when they helped someone that they probably shouldn't have helped, or I've always had a big heart, apparently. But it was something that was definitely taken advantage of, and even younger, and I always felt I was responsible for people's emotions, and I was always responsible for how people handle things in life. And
it was one of those, like, if I recognized that it was an issue, it then became my issue to fix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely, like we've always said, our lives, if you're not aware, if you haven't caught on to it already from the first video, if you didn't watch the first video, that's fine. This is a completely separate subject.
Yeah.
But we definitely have reflected each other's lives, two sides of the same coin, literally in the same time frames.
Yeah.
Like, when I was going through that short relationship, you were going through that short relationship. Yeah. Whenever you were calling the quits, I was calling the quits. It's very funny. That's how the universe works.
And it's one of those things where in my growing up, I learned to be cut off from emotion, except for anger and sadness. Because those were the two that motivated me to do what I needed to do. And you were a very emotional person.
Still am. And I'm not ashamed of that.
I'm learning to be emotional.
I'm not. Now, when I say emotional, people always take emotional as like a person who cries all the time. No, it's not like that. I'm a very...
Happiness is an emotion.
Yeah.
Like joy and all of that is emotion. And those
I'm very expressive. I'm extremely, like, I'm not afraid to let you know, like, show if I'm happy. I'm not afraid to show that I'm sad. I'm not afraid to show that, and I've always been like that, and it's been too much for some people, and that's their problem. But it's
too much for them. It's not that you are too much.
Yeah.
That's the thing that, like, definitely I know that both of us had to learn.
Oh yeah, because I ended up in my early 20s, actually, like, I'd say 19 to the time where, like, 21, something like that. So for a good solid time.
Like right before we met, I think.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, so that was even longer, because I was 23
when we met.
And so it was a solid time where I hushed, and I toned myself down, and I became super lost and depressed within myself. And it's not just, people. It was also even within family. Like, it finally hit me in that time. Whereas throughout high school, I was very carefree and stuff like that. And then for some reason, somewhere along the way, I definitely went through a very abusive situation, and everything just kind of caved in. And because a part of your spirit breaks. I was in a religion that didn't, obviously we're all about serving others, Caity and myself, but we also forget to think for things to serve us. And I was in a religion that, they claimed it wasn't religion, but it really, really was. And it was no longer serving me, and it was actually hurting me with all of this stuff within it. And it just all collapsed on top of me because I didn't deal with it, because I no longer knew what it was like. So the person that you're seeing now, who's expressive, who like laughs and jokes and stuff like that, I forgot how to be that person for the longest time, because I felt I was too much for the world.
Yeah.
I felt I was too
and
everything. I had to be everything. I had to be everything everybody wanted.
And for me, it was
Very codependent.
I didn't emote, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Like, other than anger and sadness, I didn't, up until, like, college.
Yeah.
Just because it was easier in the time frame that I was living. It was easier in the environment in which I was living. It was easier not to.
Yeah.
To just shut all that off, because, like, I felt like if I was going to have happiness, then it was going to get taken away.
Right.
Because someone else's problems are always bigger than mine. It's back to that
yes,
fix it.
We do have that in common.
Yeah, it's back to that fix it of their issues are bigger than what I'm going through, so I have to do something to fix theirs so that I can express mine.
And that's also part of codependency.
And that's the thing, like, it never got to the point where, like, their problems were fixed enough that I felt I could share mine.
Mm-hmm.
And
deep down you know that too.
Mm-hmm.
Deep down you're aware of it.
And I got to the point where I tried to express, like, alright, I'm feeling this way, or I'm going through this, and it would turn around to what that person was going through that was either similar or something that they had gone through that was similar, and then I felt I had to fix that emotion in them, because I knew how shitty I felt. I didn't want them to feel that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. If you're a person that has a lot of empathy, even if you don't feel it all the time, if you're a person with true empathy, you seriously do not want to harm anybody in the way that you were harmed. And that was a huge part of my life, that I was like, I don't want anybody, and that's probably why I took on way more responsibility as well for things that were not my responsibility. And it's kind of hard to imagine myself being that way now. It's like, how did I even carry that? How did I don't understand why I did that or how I could have been that way. But that's what I was taught in childhood. You know, full circle. Everything we've been talking about is all from childhood. We taught it. We were taught that from childhood.
Yeah.
The whole, like, not being enough. Parents sometimes don't realize, and I am a parent. You don't recognize sometimes what you say and what you do, your actions, how it affects your children. And that's why I am super excited to see that there are very self-aware parents coming to the light. Even parents like me who had made mistakes as a parent, and you're always going to make mistakes, coming into awareness and taking parenting a lot more seriously in terms of what's best for your children rather than yourself. And that's huge, you know, because it's not about you when you're a parent, it's about your children. Like, the end should not be an if, and, or but thing. It should be about your children, no matter how hard the decisions you have to make will be. And that's the path I chose, unlike my mom. You know, even with my dad, he always meant well, but he always was, you know, like, my weight was always a thing. And I felt like I wasn't pretty enough. I felt like I was too fat. I felt like I was, you know, and I think I felt like I had to make up. I've always had a big personality, but I felt like I had to make up for it. You know, I think a lot of bigger girls do. Like, if our personality, I mean, I think if your personality bites, I mean, that's just something you're going to have to work on, because I have no interest.
Yeah.
But it's just like, no matter what you look like, I don't care if you're the hottest shit in town. It's like, your personality sucks. It's like, ugh, like, you're automatically not attractive anymore. But that's just me.
You can polish a turd, it's still a turd.
Yeah, fair. That's fair. So, you know, but I was taught in childhood that wasn't enough. So, I was okay with my body for most of my life until, like, it really started hitting me, like, my codependency really started coming to the forefront. Which, now that I think about it, wasn't, like, a real thing till I was a young adult.
Yeah.
But all of this was from childhood. We don't want to recognize a lot of times our problems. We don't want to recognize the growth we have to work on to grow. Yeah, like, validation from other people will never fulfill you.
No.
It will never, ever, ever fulfill you. Validation from, like, if you don't already know, by the way, I'm just going to say this for people who are spiritual like I am. If you follow me on Instagram, you obviously know I'm a very spiritual person. I do tarot aside from this. I talk about spirit. I talk about God. I talk about the universe. You know what I mean? Like, that's just who I am.
Even in daily life, like, this is not even...
This isn't, like, this is everyday conversation for me.
We've had this discussion, not quite to this point, but we've had this discussion pretty much every time we've met for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
So that's just natural for us.
I mean, it is. And I think that's beautiful. I love it. But it's just kind of like, So, no offense, but God is not so insecure that you have to validate God. Like, God lives within you. You and God are one. And there is nothing separating you. And that's what I believe. And I feel like the biggest lie that hurt me, that broke me spiritually, within religion, within childhood, within everything, is to think that I was separate from this love. I was separate from what was always within me. And it was a complete just veil over my eyes. It was right there to take off at any moment. But it's so funny how we don't realize things just because when we're so young, we're taught certain things. We don't know how to take that veil off. And where I'm getting with this is that, you know, anything outside of ourselves will never be enough. That peace and that fulfillment has to start with you. And I think for so long I sought that validation from others, my parents, my friends, my any family, anybody I considered family, and especially in romantic relationships. And that's probably why I was devoted. And I know, guys, girls, you hear me, you see me right now. I hope you do. That you know, those of you, even if it's just a few of you watching this, I hope that you guys understand that complete devotion to a person where it's obviously not romantic, it's obviously not going to go anywhere, it's obviously it's not healthy, and you giving of yourself and trying to prove your devotion and to prove how committed you are and how wonderful you are. You shouldn't have to prove those things for the person to be like, oh, I'm in love with you. You know, just understand that that's actually them not feeling for you. You are not entitled to reciprocated feelings, number one. So it is a time, I know that sounds really harsh, but if someone doesn't like you like that, they just don't, and they can't help it. You know, you can't force them to love you, no matter how, they can know how wonderful you are, but that doesn't mean that you are entitled to that reciprocated. And that doesn't mean that one day they're going to wake up and feel that way about you. What you need to realize is something within yourself. What from childhood, what from your parents, what have you been taught to feel like you have to win them over, however you feel you're winning them over with. I feel that. And I feel like there's an abandonment thing with people when you do that. So whether your parents really abandoned you or not, there's some kind of non-reciprocation that you must have felt at one time, and you're using this person as a catalyst. You're using, is that the right word? Scapegoat, whatever. You're using this person as a surrogate. How about that? A surrogate for you, kind of like reliving that moment somewhere in childhood, trying to prove I am worthy of love. Please love me. Please love me. No, you're going to have to go to that inner child within yourself. Literally a meditation, do something, and hold your younger self and tell him or her, or non-binary, whatever, just trying to equal it out here, and tell them that they are enough and that you, which is the most important person to see yourself, is you. And like the most important person that's ever going to see you is you. And you need to tell that inner child, I see you, I love you, you are enough, you are worthy, and nothing is going to change that. How people react, or whether they don't reciprocate or they can't, is not your fault.
Going back to that parent thing, like personally, just going back to your actual relationship with your parents is something very, very big and very very instrumental in learning that, because right now I'm relearning how to interact with a family member, and today was the first day that I was like, no, I need you to listen, because throughout my entire childhood,
proud of you, by the way.
Thank you. It took a lot in me to just get so fed up that this person wasn't letting me speak, that I finally just used essentially their own words against them. And I know that's rude, but it was just that
reflection. You're
Yeah.
gonna reflect on yourself what you put on to others.
It
Let's
is-
just be fair.
It was that sentiment of, would you please just listen?
Yeah.
Like, I heard this person interacting with another family member for 18 years almost, of telling the person that I was interacting with on this event was telling the other person, would you please just listen to what I have to say and stop interrupting? And I told this person that. I was like, would you just listen? And I think I repeated it like 3 or 4 times.
And if you think about that, that comes to childhood even with that person.
Yeah.
Because they must have felt unseen. They must have felt unheard. And that their feelings weren't valid as a child. Yeah. By the way, if you are a parent watching this, please don't make your child's feelings inadequate.
Yeah.
Their feelings do matter. Even if you have to correct them, still let them know that you see them and that you love them. And even if you have to correct them, let them know it's still valid and that they're still heard.
A way that I've heard it explained is going back to my therapist. She was actually talking about when she gets on to one of her kids. She's like, I can see that you're upset, and we will talk about that after I tell you why, like, what behavior you did was not correct. She'll explain why the behavior wasn't correct, and then go back to, like, all right, how are you feeling, and why do you feel this way?
Right.
And going back to this person that I was talking about today, it was just, and I say that a lot because it's fresh on my mind. Like, it was literally, like, probably, like 3 hours ago?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
It was 3 hours ago. It was one of those moments where I was like, I need you to hear me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just me screaming that to them. It was me screaming that to myself. And that was when I told this person, like, it's not you. I have this fix-it complex.
Yeah.
And so it was just one of those moments where you might have to tell that person, like, I need you to listen to me.
Yeah.
And not speak.
No matter how scary it may seem.
Yeah.
No matter how your mind is trying to talk you out of it.
And one of the great things is this person, whenever I got actually done speaking, I don't think I told you this, when I got done speaking, they wanted to say something, and they started talking, and they stopped, and they were like, is it okay to talk now? And just, like, that there made me feel so much better about, like, that particular part of the conversation. Yeah. I still felt like crap about the rest of the conversation.
Right.
But the fact that I got through to her that I need my time to speak because you're not letting me.
Yeah.
And going to that and just being like, every person needs their time to be like, this is what I'm having issues with. And it's not necessarily you, it's that you're not letting me get this out.
Yeah.
And that goes back to relationships. Like in the other video that we did, it's you have to be able to speak and be able to be like, yeah, this is what I'm having issues with. To have that good relationship.
Exactly. So I'm going to close this video up with a few cards from Spirit. I feel like Spirit is definitely here. And you know, like, I don't get a whole lot of views on these videos, and especially with them being longer, they might not have as many, but that doesn't matter to me.
No, our last one was so much longer.
Whoever watches these videos must have needed it. I trust that. Yeah, so what we have here is trust your path, answer the call, and Pleiades. That's what I thought. I'm sorry, like, I just have this thing about words that I'm just like, what? But, you know,
so I
said
the
it
to myself like 6 times.
From Spirit is that soul family at the bottom of the deck. Look at that. I don't know if you guys could see it very well, but you could see 2 people.
There we go.
There we go.
Sorry, the screen's over there. We're trying to get it.
Soul family. So, which is exactly who we are here. It's definitely what we have going on here. And you guys, whoever's watching this, you are a part of it. No matter what time you watch this video, you are a part of it. And this is a message for the collective. We're all souls just trying to learn our lessons on this earth.
Yeah, I feel like now is the time where everyone's trying to heal their...
And transcend these old mindsets. So our first card is Trust Your Path. If you knew that you would be supported, what would you do? So I feel like a lot of us don't do things out of fear, especially with relationships. I know with me, I'm always at a crossroads with romance because of the things that I've been purging and the things that I've been talking about. There are certain comforts with distance with me, but also you know, I feel like Spirit's saying, hey, like, if you could face these things and know that you would grow from it and you knew that you would
It would
transcend.
be better on the other side.
Yeah, would you do it? Would you go through the, like, refining fire, so to speak, if that's what it took, just to know that you were becoming your greatest version, the best person you could possibly be, the best parent you could possibly be? Are you willing to make the hard choices to kind of break the cycles in your family? And then we have answer the call. What is your soul calling to do? And I think that has to do with the cycles thing. You know, are you being called to break cycles in your family? I know that my brother, myself, my sister, we are breaking all kinds of cycles. You and your brother are trying to break cycles in our families, and that's huge, because guess what? That's going to influence so many people to come, and our children and our children's children. Yeah. You know, even it, and you know, it's just on such a molecular level. Breaking cycles is so painful, and for you to be the person to do that in your bloodline is one of the heaviest, I think, responsibilities to take on, and it's not easy. And then we have double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity, what you have gone through, recognizing. I don't care, by the way, I wish I would have said this earlier, and I hope you guys are still with us, and if you are, obviously you'll hear this. I don't care if you feel you have no reason to hurt the way you do. You know, there's a difference between being a victim. Being a victim mentality is it's everyone's fault. You know what I mean? And then there's a difference between that and, you know, let's say you had the ideal childhood. I don't give a fuck. You know, pain is pain. And if you have to transcend something and break cycles, you have to break cycles. It doesn't matter how good your life may seem. People aren't perfect, and, you know, purging still has to happen. That's why we're here, is to uplift humanity with our stories, to kind of show how you can come out of the pain, and how you can come out of the heartbreak, and how you can face yourself, and that you will come out of it on the other side a lot stronger and a lot more empathetic and loving.
Yeah, I keep thinking of one of our friends, and I don't know if she'll want us to say her name.
Probably not. Well, I don't know. They probably wouldn't care, but just in case, I don't feel comfortable.
We always joke that she has the best parents of the lot.
Yeah. And
there's still things that she is, knowingly or not, breaking the cycles of her family and, like, relearning how to do things. Yeah. To better just give. Yeah. Like, she's one of the most giving people we probably both know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But we always joke that she came from one of the best set of parents that we have.
And they're wonderful people.
They've kind of adopted us all.
Actually, like, to be fair, most of our parents are wonderful people.
Yeah.
But they're not perfect people. That's something you gotta recognize. As much as we want to idolize the people we love, you can't always put them on a pedestal. You have to see them as human, because they are, regardless, at the end of the day.
Everyone makes mistakes.
And, you know, it's I feel like our responsibility, especially as people who have gone through gone through an awakening. But thanks, because I'm getting anxious.
Yeah. Oh, I've been pulling on mine.
So, you know, I think that a lot of us, it's CBD, by the way, definitely helps.
Not me, I'm just straight nicotine.
But, you know, I just feel like we forget that the pain that we have isn't for us to just harness and just carry throughout this life and keep it secret and hurt in silence. And, you know, this is meant for you to not only learn and overcome and be triumphant in your life. People, it is what's gonna, even if it's just one person, you change one person's life. You don't have to be a well-known person. It could be your children. It could be one family member. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Your lessons were meant to be heard and applied to someone's growth. And if you are hiding, especially in our society, and kind of taking on I don't really feel anything, don't tell people what you've been through, like, shut the fuck up.
No.
You won't be able to reach your highest potential.
Don't let them see, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And something that just came to mind was when you're facing all of this and you're going to these people and telling them, like, this is a situation.
And allowed to happen naturally.
Yeah. Like, this is a situation where I was hurt by you, or this is a situation that I didn't feel hurt or anything like that. The hurt that they feel is not because of you. The hurt that they feel is something they choose to feel.
Yeah.
I may not feel like that because when my therapist told me that, I was like, but I'm the one who caused that pain. Like, I'm the one who said that. I'm the one who, like, brought this back up. And it's not...
It's their... But they have to face what they've done.
Yeah, like, in the situation where I was interacting with this family member today, it was... I know the things I said to her caused a moment where she could have chose to either be hurt by those things or hear them and be like, okay, how can we do something
work on this? How can we move forward?
Yeah.
Because the choice is ultimately up to them. You're doing your part in your healing. How they react, and I always love to say this, and we're going to end this here, I believe.
It's a good ending point.
Yeah. You are not responsible for how people react. You're responsible for your actions. That is who you are responsible for, ultimately. And
you're not responsible for their growth.
Yeah, they have to do that themselves. That includes with family, friends, lovers. You can't push them. You can, around here, a common saying is you can lead a horse to water.
You can't make it drink.
Can't make him drink. You can drown him trying to make him drink, but you can't make him drink. And but yeah, I think that's a good ending point on this with family and relationships in general.
Yeah.
That I think our lessons, and hopefully they help you guys, and lots of love and light.
Yeah.
I'm glad I was able to do this with my Caity.
Same.
And yeah, we will see you guys on the other side. Let us know in the comments how it related to you. Share your stories. Be here for each other. Leave a like. Subscribe. There will be a lot more like this. And Caity, I'm sure, will be on the channel again.
This was kind of impromptu. We were just like,
this is improv. This is honestly just us opening our hearts to you guys and sharing it with you. But we love you, and please, there's a community here. That's what I'm trying to put out there. Anyway, we will see you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.